welcome back for another fabulous craft video on this Craft Wednesday. Woohoo! And yes, I am a little cold. It is like early in the morning and I'm fixing to go to work, but I just realized that I didn't record an intro and extra for this video, so here we go. But as you can tell, we're going to be doing a lovely little, computer related craft, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be hopefully quick and simple, and I think I explained it well. If not, I will clear that up at the end. But anyways, before we get into that, if you're new to the channel, hello dears, consider hitting that subscribe button for me so you can be here for all of our random content. And if you're my current subscribers, hello loves, I hope you're doing fabulous this week and ready for Mercury to come out of retrograde. If anybody else believes in that, you know what I mean. But for this Wednesday, we're going to be making this cute Halloween, or you can use any fabric you want. I just wanted mine to look all nice and spooky. But I got this fabric from Walmart. It's really cute. It was really cheap, and it served all of my computer related needs because I've been needing a case for my laptop for a while, so made one myself because I couldn't find one that I liked. So when in doubt, make it yourself. But yes, so we're going to go ahead and cut to the shots of me making this, and I will meet y'all back at the end. Alright everybody, welcome back to another lovely craft video. So for this Wednesday, we're going to do something that's fun and practical. We are going to be making a kind of a fabric case for our laptop, or carrying case for our laptop. As you can see, I have a MacBook. It's a MacBook Air, and it's the 13-inch one. So I need a case for it, and I couldn't find one I liked, so I'm going to go ahead and make mine out of some cute fabric. So the other things that you are going to need besides your laptop is you're going to need your fabric. I got this from Walmart for $1.47, as you can see, and it is a fat quarter, which I can't remember what that measures out to, but I'll put the measurements somewhere on the screen if I can find them. Next thing you're going to need is kind of a soft, like felt or fleece fabric. Mine is a fleece that I got from the discount bin at Hobby Lobby, and as you can see, it was $4.64 for this kind of, it's a decent size roll, honestly. But next thing you're going to need is some kind of thick felt. You can pick these sheets up from any craft store. They are like, sometimes they're 20 cents, sometimes they're 50 cents, sometimes you get like 10 for $1. They're fairly cheap. I got like 10 of these, so because I was going to use them for something else, but that didn't pan out. And then next thing you're going to need is a lovely Sharpie so we can do our pattern. And then you're going to need some scissors. And the one thing that you do not see in this again is the sewing machine, but you can always just use, standard needle and thread and just hand sew it. I have a sewing machine at my disposal, so I'm going to use that. Now, the first thing you want to do is to make sure that your fabric that you have, whether it is the fabric like how I have that's already the pre-cut fabric, or if you have some spare fabric, just make sure it's going to fit the size of your laptop with a little bit of an overhang. I think I want to say I did an inch or so of like overhang, if I'm not mistaken. So we're just going to sit here and we're going to measure that out right quick. Okay, now you want to make sure that your fabric, along with, lining up and matching up to the size of your laptop, that you're going to have enough. You want to make sure that if, like me, the fabric kind of goes a certain way, you want to make sure that you have enough of it going that particular way to, to make sure it looks all nice and neat. And then once you get that figured out, you want to go ahead and just turn your fabric kind of where it's going to be when we sew it together. It's going to be inside out. So lay the right side up and then lay the wrong side down on top of it, because I'm just going to go ahead and cut both of my fabric pieces at the same time for this section. But just make sure that your fabric is facing the same direction if it is a directional fabric like how mine is. So, and just make sure you get that all good and lined up. Alright, now once you get your fabric all nice and lined up, you want to go ahead and measure out the size of your laptop, or what you're going to need. So for me, I'm going to start down in the corner, and I measure an inch away from my actual laptop to give me enough room to work with, plus, for sewing and all that. Plus, whenever you put the fleece or the felt inside, it does take up a bit more room. So just make sure you leave about an inch, inch and a half of extra space for you to work with for your laptop. And then all the way around, again, I think I left a half inch, or no wait, hang on. I left an inch all the way around. Excuse me, I forgot what I did there for a minute, but I left an inch on all the way around on the sides. So as you can tell, I'm just kind of using the edge of my fabric to give me kind of a straight edge, and then using my laptop to make sure that I kind of get my lines a little bit straight, because I'm very bad about not getting my lines straight. So just measure that out, and then we're going to move on to the fleece. Okay, now once you have your decorative fabric cut out, mine ended up being 10 inches high, and I want to say it was 14 inches long. So you want to make sure at this point that the felt that you're going to be putting inside of your fabric, the other felt pieces that we have, mine are the blue pieces, match up, or is enough room to where they line up to your computer. If not, then you can either nix that idea, or you can double up on your fleece for that part. I mean, not your fleece, on your felt, excuse me. So you can either double up on your felt for that part to give you some extra padding and some extra thickness on that. Okay, so we're going to take the pattern that we cut out from our decorative Halloween fabric, and we are going to just draw that pattern onto our fleece. Again, I'm going to double layer it. So I'll go ahead and just cut some of the time in half, and go ahead and cut out both sides of my fabric that way. Now be sure you are careful with this, because if you do not have the fabric lined up properly, then when you cut it, it's going to be all cattywampus. So as you can see, I am taking my time to make sure that my fabric is lined up nice and neat, and then we're just going to draw out. We're going to use the pattern that we just made, as I said, and we're going to draw that onto our fabric, and then we're going to cut that out. Okay, so before we move on to the sewing portion of this craft, you want to make sure that your decorative fabric, which in my case is the Halloween fabric, my felt fabric, which is the blue piece of fabric that I have, and the fleece, which is the gray piece of fabric, you want to make sure that they all line up and are going to make a nice kind of cushiony case. Like I said, if your fleece, not your fleece, if your felt, there we go, I keep getting those two mixed up. But if your felt is not big enough for your laptop, you can either double them up, or I know sometimes they do sell bigger sheets. I think they're like maybe $1 or $2 roundabout, so you can invest in those. Just pre-measure your laptop before you go into the store to buy your fleece, if you want to use this step. If you don't, then all you have to do is just make sure your fabric lines up, and if you need to trim off any excess, go ahead and do that now, because what is the rule? Measure twice, cut once, because you can't put it back on. So yeah, just make sure you do all that, and then we're going to move on to the sewing portion. Alright, so once we have everything sewed, you want to make sure that you sew your decorative fabric inside out. So whenever we turn it right side out, your pattern is on the proper side. And then your fleece fabric, there we go, took me a minute, but you want to make sure you sew the right side inwards. So whenever we put that in there, your really good soft side is going to be in there. Mine is kind of the same on both sides, so it didn't really matter. But sometimes the fleece fabric can have a right and a wrong side. So just make sure that whenever you sew that, you sew it inside out, but we're going to be putting the right side on the inside of the bag, if that makes any sense. I'm showing you in the video that we're going to just, kind of shove that in there like a pillow, and we're going to make a nice, neat little case. Okay, and then once you get your fabric inside of each other the way you want them, go ahead and fold over your edges so you know just how much you're going to actually be sewing around that to make your nice clean edge. But before we move on to sewing all of that up, or adding a button at this stage too, if you want to go ahead and do that. I didn't choose to do that because I just don't have a button, so I will add that on later. But go ahead and make sure that it all lays nice and flat, and then you're going to tuck your felt inside of there and make sure it lays flat. This will give you just some extra padding for whenever you're kind of carrying your laptop around and stuff. So just go ahead and make sure that that fits into the corners nice and flat, that it just, is all nice and smooth and there's no wrinkles. And then we're going to move on to just finishing this up by sewing the top seam. Alright guys, and that is pretty much it. Once you get the top part of your case sewed, as I was showing you, it's kind of hard to see because it is kind of black on black a little bit there, but just make sure, that's all nice and sewed, nice and tight and nice and neat. I had a little bit of issues with mine, but we won't get into that. And then just go ahead and do a test trial for your laptop to make sure it fits in all nice and snug, and you are pretty much done with this craft, unless you want to add any other little decorations on it that you want to at this point, but for the most part you are done. Okay, so I hope that was fairly simple for you to follow and you understood everything that I was doing. Mainly, you wanted to build a good bit of layers and then sew it all together. If you want to, you could also attach the felt and stuff on the inside if you wanted that not to move around, but so far I've been using this for a few days and I haven't had any trouble with it. But there is that. One thing that I did not clarify is, and you can kind of see it in the clip, but you can't really see it that good, is how big this actually ended up being. My laptop's in here, so I'm having to work around that. But when I first measured it out, it ended up being 10 inches, and then the finished product is 8 inches. So I added 2 inches, or I added an inch on each side, and then I think I ended up measured 13 inches in the clip, and this ended up being still 13 inches, so I didn't take off too much. So thankfully I got the measurement good on that one, because there's not much. My computer is a 13-inch computer, so there's not much of, not much room for me. There's enough room for me to put a little button, and that is about it. So thankfully, whenever you use your laptop to do your pattern, it comes out pretty good. But and this also is able to keep my charger in there for me, so it's nice and wide for how I want it. Now obviously if you have a bigger charger then you won't be able to do that, but mine is nice and small, so I can stick it in there. But yes, I hope y'all enjoyed this and gives you your own idea, or if you've been dabbling back and forth about a computer case or a computer little cover, then this handles that. I know it's kind of similar to our book covers, just the added step of putting in that extra padding, just because I wanted to make sure that my laptop was nice and secure in here. So I hope y'all enjoyed that craft for this Wednesday. I've got to head to work, and I hope y'all have a fabulous rest of your week. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Bye.